Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're not reviewing a particular product. I'm going to explain what kit I use for filming my YouTube channel in 2021, and we're now in April 2021. I'm going to try and keep this video as short as I can. Now, I've used a plethora of different cameras from Panasonic's, Fuji's, Canon, Sony obviously, and what I'm using at the moment is Sony, and I'm going to explain why I'm very happy with Sony, why I've gone back to Sony. Now, up until sort of January, well, February time, I was using Panasonic for a few months, and I love the colour science of Panasonic. I love the cameras, the features, the 10-bit recording, etc, etc. Vlog built into the cameras. And that's why I purchased a Panasonic S5, which I've got here, which is their full frame camera. Fantastic piece of kit. Highly recommend this camera as a hybrid camera. It's full frame 24 megapixel, great video, 10-bit recording. I mean, there will be a link to my review of the S5 up here somewhere. So if you want to take a look at that, that'd be great. But I've stopped using Panasonic for one reason, is the autofocus. I think everyone understands that Panasonic have, you know, they're stuck with their depth from defocus, contrast detect autofocus. Heaven knows why, but it's okay, but it's not perfect. And nothing's perfect. Even the Sonys aren't perfect, but they are so much better, particularly with me talking to camera. Now, if you're behind the camera, the Panasonic S5 is awesome, and so is the GH5s. They're awesome cameras because you can do manual focusing, or you can keep tabs on what the focus is doing. But when you're working solo, I mean, I'm running quite a few cameras, and I'm going to go through them with what I'm using in just a moment. But I couldn't rely on the autofocus. I have turned the autofocus down, the sensitivity and the speed to virtually zero, so it is better, but I still have that little bit of pulsing in the background. It really irritated me. And if I moved out of shot or moved around like this, yeah, the focus would go, even with Sonys, but the Sonys click back in really quick and they hold it there, they don't hunt. And you know, that for me is so important. So I don't know if I'll keep the S5. I probably will, because it's a great hybrid camera. It is a great stills camera and I really enjoy it. There will be a link to, as I said, to a review of the Panasonic S5, and also there'll be a link to my Flickr page where you can have a look at photographs taken with the S5, so you can see how good this camera really is. But that's not what I'm using at the moment, and I think I will be sticking with Sony. So I'm using Sony, and the cameras that I'm using predominantly, I'm using two Sony A7Cs, and I love that camera, and I'll explain why I do in a moment. And I've got three ZV-1s. So basically my close-up shot, which is this one here, that's one of my Sony A7Cs with the Sony 85mm portrait lens on, shooting at f1.8, so you get lovely bokeh in the background. Not that you can see much of a background, but you do get lovely bokeh. I'm loving that combination. Great camera, great combination. My other A7C is this one here, and that's filming the wider shot. And I've got my Tamron 28-75 full frame lens on that A7C, so that's getting that shot. And then the close-up shots, which there won't be many close-up shots in this particular video, but the close-up shots here are being filmed on my ZV-1, simply because the autofocus is great and it's got a showcase mode on the ZV-1. So as you pick a camera up, it will snap straight to focus on what you're showing the audience. And then obviously when you take it away, when it focuses back on your face, although I've got this in tighter, so it's not designed to focus on my face. And then I've got another ZV-1 in the background there, getting a generic wide shot. And I do move that around. Sometimes I put it over here. Quite often I'll have it over there. You know, it just depends. And sometimes I run even more cameras. But that is, you know, my main setup is the ZV-1s for either generic wide shots or for the close-up shot, and my Sony A7Cs for the two main shots, the two critical shots. Now, I could use other Sony cameras. I've got the Sony A7R Mark III, that's got great video. A little bit softer in 4K full frame, but it's still, you know, perfectly adequate for YouTube. But the reason why I'm not, this is 42 megapixels as well, beautiful camera. But the reason why I'm not using at the moment the A7R Mark III, just one fundamental reason is it's got a 29-minute record limit or 30-minute record limit. My A7Cs, I can just keep on going for as long as either the battery runs for or the memory card runs for, and that's great. I don't have to worry about, and also with the ZV-1s, and that's another reason why I use them. So both the A7C and the ZV-1s have got no record limit, and you can run them off a USB power block, so you're not going to have issues with the batteries running out or the memory card. Well, you know, when the memory card fills up, you haven't got the issues with that 30-minute record limit. So yeah, great cameras. And the autofocus on the ZV-1s is of their latest, you know, iteration, and it's great, and I just love the autofocus. The color science, you know, I don't know. I've got them both set to auto white balance. It's because for speed, that suits me, you know. But there we go, that's the cameras that I'm using, the Sony A7Cs and the ZV-1s, and many other cameras I use when I'm testing cameras or, you know, reviewing cameras. And I use quite a few other cameras. I've got a little Insta360 1R set up over here, but I'm not running it because the SD card's full. So, but I quite often use that for a wide shot. So, you know, that's the sort of cameras that I use. Now, as far as sound is concerned, I generally use my, for wireless microphones, I use my Holyland, where is it? Holyland Lark 150, and sometimes I'll use my Blink 500, but this is the Holyland Lark 150, comes in this charging box. And that's the second one. It is a twin system, so it's a twin transmitter with one receiver that goes into one of my A7Cs, and then for backup audio and sometimes for main audio, I use my Sennheiser MKE600, which is just out of shot over here. I don't know if I can bring that into shot. It'll be out of focus if I do, but I'll use the Sony MKE600 here. You can see that actually. There we go. MKE600 for as my backup microphone, and that's just on a little boom stand there, just out of shot like that. And that goes into my other ZV-1 using an XLR adapter, either the Comica or the Sony XLR adapter. The Sony one's very similar to the Panasonic DMW XLR1, which is this one here, and that's what I use when I'm running my Panasonic S5. There's no cables or anything. It takes the power and the audio straight through the hot shoe. So if you're using Panasonic cameras, I can highly recommend this DMW XLR1 if you need XLR audio. There is a review of that on my channel somewhere. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And so that's basically the video and the audio, which are the two fundamental parts of my channel. Tripods, I generally use Manfrotto B3 tripods, one like this. I've got 3 or 4 of these. These are great tripods, very reliable, very sturdy, very happy with them. And I've put an Arca Swiss plate on the top, but it's got the Manfrotto plate. You've got your ball and socket head there, so you can level it up nice and easy. Obviously, you've got your tilty-wilty bit here, and you can adjust it that way. So very light and compact. And for me, because I suffer with a bad shoulder, light and compact is the key for me, and that is, you know, where that scores. That is great from that point of view, even though it is nice and wonky. So that's the tripods. Monitors, the ZV-1s as well as the ZV-1 as well as the A7Cs have got your articulating screens. And I could use them because they're great. They're quite sharp. They're perfectly adequate. I use it on the ZV-1, but with the A7Cs, I've got a Andy Cine monitor, 5-inch Andy Cine monitor on the top of that one. That's great because I can clearly see the audio levels on the Andy Cine monitor. And on my other A7C, the wide one, I've got my Atomos Ninja Flame set up for that. It's doing a backup recording on the Atomos, but I don't use it for that necessarily. I'm quite happy with the codec that records on the internal SD card, but it's a big screen. It's a big 7-inch screen, and I can see the audio meters moving quite happily on that monitor. So they're the monitors that I use in the studio. As far as lighting is concerned, I'm using LED lights, obviously fixed LED lighting. There'll be a link again in the description as to what LED lightings I'm using. I can't pronounce the name, Rolando, something like that. Really good lights. Very happy. I've got those through Amazon. There'll also be a link in the description to my Amazon page where you can actually look at these products, and you can buy them through my Amazon affiliate link. I do earn a few pennies from that, but it don't cost you any more. And Amazon have got a really good returns policy, so it's well worth looking at that. So that's for lighting, that's sound I've covered, tripods, cameras, and there's obviously always lots of odd accessories, you know, adapters and clips and, you know, many other things. Now editing, I use Macs. I haven't ever edited on a PC. I wouldn't like to do so. I don't want to get involved with Mac versus PC debate, because I know people will say a PC is better than a Mac or vice versa. I love me Macs. It's as simple as that. And I'm running the Mac Mini, just an 8 gig Mac Mini, and it's working brilliantly. I run Final Cut Pro. It's what I know, it's what I understand. I played with DaVinci Resolve. Looks a great bit of software. I've never really used Adobe Premiere. I don't intend to, because you have to pay quite a bit for the subscription to Adobe Premiere, and I don't want to do that. So I'm using Final Cut Pro for all my editing. I do multicam editing, so everything is filmed in 4K and it's uploaded to YouTube in 1080. And the reason why I film in 4K is one predominant reason. Again, because of my poor eyesight, if I haven't got the tripod quite level, I can adjust the level, I can crop in tighter. So for example, this wide shot that we're looking at now, I can crop that tighter in the edit if I really wanted to. So I can actually create a fourth angle if I really had, felt the need to do so. I don't do that, but I could do if I really wanted to. In fact, I could film it wide with one camera and create a 2-camera shoot by having just that one angle. But I don't do that. Maybe I should do that. It saved me setting up so many cameras and making sure batteries are charged and, etc, etc. I've also got a MacBook Pro, the M1 silicon chip MacBook Pro, if I'm at the office or out and about and I want to do the editing on that. So that's basically the filming and editing kit. I don't think there's much else really. There's bound to be other little odds and ends that I use and that I haven't covered, but hopefully that does answer the question to the people that ask me what kit am I using for filming my YouTube channel. I mean, you can use pretty much any kit. Canon is great. They're all really good, but I just now like my Sonys because I'm loving basically the autofocus and the ease of use. And I find the A7C has great ease of use. Yeah, it's a compact camera. It's lacking certain function buttons, but because I'm using them in the studio, I do use them when I go out and about, but they're nice and light, and that is great for going out and about. It's a great travel camera, so that's a bit of a plug for the A7C. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found my channel useful. Really appreciate it if you hit the like button if you found this particular video useful, and share it if you want to share it. That'd be great, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I really appreciate all the subscriptions, and I enjoy reading all the comments. Means a lot to me, so thanks very much indeed, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video and photography. Cheers for now. Bye.